We just got over $500 million worth of Bitcoin spot ETF inflows. The ISM manufacturing PMI data came in over 50, which, according to some analysts, means that the bull market is back on. And Jeffrey Epstein is linked to Bitcoin. In today's video, we'll be talking about all of this, going over the most recent Bitcoin price action, giving you my thoughts on the market that is right in front of us. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. All right, so first things first, as we normally do, let's take a look at Bitcoin. You can see that right now we are sitting right around $78,300. Now, we tapped into a very important level, but we did not sweep the liquidity that I was going for. So at this point in time, you can see that if I zoom into this chart, Bitcoin basically came within $100 of the outlined level in my previous video. And if you're lost here, that level is the previous tariff capitulation low. This level was always going to provide support for Bitcoin. Now, the real question is, are we in the clear yet? Is Bitcoin just going to immediately get a relief rally? I actually don't think that that's the case. I would much prefer if we can go ahead and sweep those lows. The reason I say this is because right below where we're currently at, we have so much support that we cannot ignore. First and foremost, we have this previous range from 2024, which I outlined in my previous video, but basically the point of control of this range brings us down to around 67.5K, depending on which chart you're looking at. And we have this tariff low along with the previous highs at the value area high of this existing range. So what I'm trying to get at here is this is becoming a very, very interesting zone for Bitcoin to hopefully hold support at. Now, I know some people that are already extremely excited because we tapped into this level, or just about, I should say, but to be perfectly open with you, I have not entered a new long on Bitcoin yet, simply because I would like to see us sweep these lows. Now, can we front run it and just pump? Of course, that's a possibility, but ultimately, I am gunning for a move towards these lows before I can make my next big trade in this market. Speaking of which, still shorting Bitcoin, secured some profits, will continue to hold on to this position. As always, all of my trades are shared in my group before I go ahead and come on the YouTube channel. So this short where I entered at around $97,000 and I'm still holding some of that position was shared in the first link in my description down below. So if you click this link and DM me the keyword 2026, I'd be happy to onboard you into my free group where I share all of my own personal trade setups in this market before I go ahead and show them on the YouTube channel. This is where I will be sharing my next long in this market as well. Speaking of which, I am also not a financial advisor. Nothing that I discuss within my Telegram community or on my YouTube channel should be construed as financial advice. I am literally just a guy on the internet sharing all of his own personal trades and his overall market analysis. Now that we got that out of the way, let's see what Bitcoin will give us here, because right now this is a pretty solid wick to the downside. Within my community, I know that some people already entered a long. All I can say is make sure you have aggressive risk management, because if Bitcoin is to come back lower, I think a lot of people will be surprised. And let's take a look at this Bitcoin chart, which shows that we do have a pretty massive CME gap all the way up to around $84,000. My base case is that Bitcoin will likely fill this gap at some point. For me to go long, as I've said though, I'm in no rush. I would like to see us sweep these lows. It is such a pivotal level for Bitcoin. Now, what is the longer term trend here? Because some of you might be asking, okay, does this mean we're just going to pump to all-time highs? Actually, I don't think that that's the case. If you've been following for a while, you know I've been bearish on this uptrend here, and we shorted right at the bull market support band as seen on my current Bluffin account. But what you want to understand is that this could just be forming a head and shoulders pattern. I know, very, very simple, basic TA, but you need to pay attention to this. This is one shoulder, this is the head, and then we could be forming the other shoulder. This is a bit weak for a shoulder, so there is a chance that we can come back down, pump, and then really go ahead and form a more convincing right shoulder. So if this is the case, and Bitcoin actually does get a significant move after ideally sweeping these lows, this could actually be another interesting shorting opportunity in this market. I'm calling it how I see it. Yes, I'm still in my short from $97,000, secured some really good profits, and I'm happy about that. But if we were to come back up, that could actually be a brand new opportunity, because ultimately, as I've highlighted time and time again, I do think that Bitcoin will be dropping below $70,000 and also likely below $60,000 if history is to repeat. Don't shoot the messenger. Now, you know what I'm going for here in terms of trade setups. Let's go over some other interesting charts. We have the gold chart here, which you can see we had a massive plunge. Over $4 trillion was wiped out from gold and silver's market cap within one day yesterday. However, the reversal is just as aggressive. You can see we got a massive wick for gold all the way down to around 4,400, and now we're basically back up to $5,000 on the day. Something else you want to consider here, this is the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map. We've talked about this time and time again. The only thing I want to show you here is that there's way more cumulative short liquidation leverage in the market compared to cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market. So if we do get some kind of short-term relief rally, well, this is more than enough fuel to send us a little bit higher. Taking a look at the Coinbase Premium Index, we've been covering this for quite some time, but you can see we are slowly rising. Now, we're not quite in the positive, in the green, but these are initial positive signs along with the Bitcoin spot ETF inflows, which yesterday we got around $500 million worth of inflows. This is not insignificant. The real question is, can we continue getting some inflows, or are we just going to get a little bit of a spike and the selling will continue to tap into those more significant lows on the Bitcoin chart? And a quick follow-up on yesterday's video regarding Tom Lee. He just bought around 42,000 Ethereum for just under $100 million, trying to get that average price down, because we know that he's roughly down around $7 billion from his Ethereum investment. And before we go back to the charts, let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein's connection to Bitcoin. Can you believe this? Jeffrey Epstein was connected to the early Bitcoin ecosystem. Recently released emails show Epstein was much closer to early Bitcoin circles than most people ever knew. He sent large amounts of money to MIT over many years, including funding tied to programs that later supported Bitcoin core developers when other funding dried up. His name was kept hidden internally and his visits were handled quietly. Emails also describe private meetings at his Manhattan mansion where Bitcoin was discussed with early crypto figures and well-known policymakers years before Bitcoin actually became mainstream. By 2018, Epstein was asking political insiders about crypto taxes, receiving and spending crypto, and how digital assets interact with campaign finance rules. This does not mean Epstein controlled Bitcoin. This is something you need to consider. I don't think that this will ultimately have an impact on Bitcoin, but I just wanted to make you aware of it. Very, very interesting. It shows that he had direct access to developers, researchers, investors, and political networks connected to Bitcoin much earlier than most people ever assumed. This is interesting to hear in a bear market, of course, anything to fuel the current narrative. Now, let's talk about the ISM manufacturing PMI data, because I'm also seeing a lot of people get excited about this because we came in at over 50. Now, some analysts are saying that because we came in over 50 on yesterday's report, well, that means that the bull market is back and Bitcoin will just absolutely skyrocket. But there is a fundamental flaw. And to sum it up perfectly, let me just go over what Brett ETH here had to say on Twitter. The US ISM manufacturing PMI just printed at 52.6, breaking above the 50 mark for the first time since January 2025, a bullish indicator for the economy. This is true. A caveat, a strong ISM reduces the pressure on the Fed to cut rates. Historically, the Fed is more likely to pause or hike when the ISM is expanding. And here's the chart that we're looking at. In light green, this is Bitcoin's price action, bottom to top. Then we have red, where the ISM is below 50. Then we have dark green, where the ISM is above 50. Notice these timeframes, 2014 to 2015 and 2018 to 2019, as you can see here on the chart. ISM was steadily holding above 52 to 59, yet Bitcoin entered a bear market on both occasions. Between 2023 and 2025, the ISM actually stayed below 50 for 2 years, yet Bitcoin rallied 700%. ISM is not a one-to-one indicator for Bitcoin. It's a better indicator of future Fed policy. This is all there really is to say on the topic. Just because the ISM manufacturing PMI came in at over 50, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin and crypto will just skyrocket. This completely debunks that. And something else you want to consider here in terms of economic data, today we were supposed to get the JOLTS job openings, and we're supposed to also get on Friday the non-farm payrolls data and the unemployment rate. But it doesn't seem like this will be getting released. That being said, tomorrow we should be getting the ISM services PMI, so make sure you pay attention to that. What I want you to understand here is that Bitcoin is still in the same exact structure. I'll try to guide you throughout this bear market as best as possible, but ultimately I'm just looking for trading opportunities along the way so I can go ahead and stack Bitcoin as we are headed lower. And with that in mind, let's just go over a quick comment that I wanted to address. I'm long, like 5 to 10 years long. It hurts me to watch your videos, but you're doing a great job. First of all, I really appreciate the comment. Second of all, I want everyone that's watching the channel to understand that I am giga long on Bitcoin for the long term. This content is to show you how I am navigating in this market, trying to make as much money as the price goes up and down. This way I can stack near those bear market lows. And until proven otherwise, we are in a bear market. Now let's see if we can tap into this zone, get a little bit of relief, and then likely roll over some more, which is still my base case. I will look to trade this kind of price action, but remember, I am a long-term Bitcoin bull, and everything I'm doing here is to be able to accumulate more Bitcoin as we head lower for the future. If that resonates with you and you want to trade the market to try and stack some sats when Bitcoin goes a little bit lower, you do have the first link in my description down below. DM me the keyword 2026 and I'd be more than happy to share with you all of my own personal trades in this market. And that sums up today's quick video. I hope you enjoyed the content. As always, if you did, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I have my bluff and leverage trading tutorial right here, and I'll see you in the next video.